Hello again, or if you're new, welcome. And welcome to Chaos Head Noah, a world where our protagonist is plagued by vivid delusions that swing between humorous and horrifying. Let's dive right in.
視線が空から降ってくる。その瞳はいつも僕を見つめていて、眼差しは熱くて真っ黒な雨雲を突き抜けて、雨のように僕へと降り注ぐ。僕を見るな。雨の冷たさより、背中を預けている瓦礫の冷たさのせいで、さっきから体の震えが止まらない。ひどく寒い。突き刺さってくる誰のものかもわからない天からの視線。それから逃げるように、僕はわずかに首を持ち上げて周囲を見回す。そこにあるのは崩壊した街。そこにあるのは絶望。そこにあるのは死。そこにあるのは無。誰もいない。誰も動いていない。誰も生きていない。聞こえるのはただ降り続ける雨の音だけ。このまま全てを、生きているものも死んでいるものも、全てを優しく包み込んで洗い流してしまうんだろうか。全部の出来事が単なる妄想だったらよかったんだけど、どうやらそうでもないらしい。体が動かない。動かせるのはかろうじて首と瞳だけ。体が震えているけど、そんなのただの生理現象でしかない。僕の意志じゃない。僕は身を震わせたいなんて思ってない。僕の自由にならないなら、こんなの僕の体じゃない。あるいは、生まれた時から僕は自由なんかじゃなかったかもしれない。心の保管してある場所なんて誰にもわからないんだ。それなのに、一体誰がこの体の中に僕の心があるって言い切れるんだ。でも、だったら僕はどこにいたんだろう。僕はここにいるのかな。僕はどこにもいないのかな。すべてが静止している壊れてしまった世界に、ふと死の雨以外の音が響く。無の中から浮かび上がってくるたった一つの言う。君は誰？その肌が青白く見えるのは、雨の冷たさに凍えているから、それとも君がもう死んでいるから。でも彼女は震えていなかった。そして前髪で隠れそうになっているその瞳は、僕を見るな。ひどく悲しそうにも見える。狂気じみているようにも見える。何も映していないようにも見える。 もしも世界には僕と彼女の二人だけしかいなくて、こうしてお互いだけを永遠に見つめ合っていたら、僕の世界は彼女の瞳に映るものだけになるのかな。彼女の世界は僕の瞳に映るものだけになるのかな。彼女の瞳に映るものは僕、僕の瞳に映るものは彼女。そう考えると世界は途端に矮小化する。
ね
不意に僕の耳に届くとても綺麗なノイズ。彼女はうなだれて両手を左右に広げる。まるであの雨雲の上へ向けて飛び立とうとするかのように、あるいはこの雨すべてを受け止めようとするかのように。
え、あなたを見つめ、
うなだれた彼女の表情は僕の位置からも伺い知ることができない。雨の薄膜の向こうで君はどんな顔をしている？
殺してあげる。
天使、乱舞する光の羽は僕を祝福しているのか、それとも、ああ、そうか、理解したよ。それで僕を殺してくれるんだね。ゆっくりと倒れている僕の前に彼女が膝をつく。いまだに彼女はうなだれたまま。僕の頭をそっと抱えてくる。僕を見てくれないことに僕はほっとしてただ身を委ねた。耳元でささやき、綺麗なノイズ。でもよく聞こえない。暖かくて柔らかくて優しくて甘美な感触。それは麻酔のようで、不思議なことに体の震えがゆっくりと収まっていく。彼女のかすかな鼻息が僕の頬をくすぐる。とても甘い匂い。ふと胸に圧迫感を覚えた。彼女の持っていた大きな剣が僕の胸の皮膚を裂き、肉をえぐり、骨の間を縫い、ゆっくりと体の中に沈み込んできている。でも彼女のキスという麻酔にかけられてもう痛みを感じない。こんなにも優しく殺してくれるから、不意に切なくなって涙があふれそうになって、それをごまかすために彼女の頭越しに雨を落とし続けている鈍色の空を見上げた。空が滲んでいるのは雨のせい、涙のせい。もうあの視線も感じない。もう何もない。薄れゆく意識の中で僕は空へと手を伸ばす。誰か教えて。僕たちのあの空はどこへ行ったんだろう。
真のリズムが乱れ始めたなら弱気な声は逃げ場を失い過去の場所に帰るだけきっとしける全てのものが怠惰な雑念に埋もれゆくなら自分の存在も消せるかな僕たちのバイオリズムがもし特別なものなら記憶もペテンも裏切りの夢も理にかなうようにつながるでもしも時々見せる君のあの笑顔さえもハリボテのように崩れてゆくなら普通に Time goes on Everything そのメロディカ誰の目始まった play
I couldn't see the gaze. I couldn't see it, even though it was watching me. It was strange. For as long as I could remember, I sometimes felt like I was being watched by some mysterious gaze. But whenever I turned to look, there was never anyone there. Still, I was convinced that someone was watching me. I could tell by the chills that ran down my neck. Was I just being too self-conscious? Or did I just have a fear of being watched? Way back in elementary school, I'd thought of it differently. That gaze is God watching over me. And I genuinely believed it too. I'd even written an essay about it back then. In retrospect, I must have just had a bad case of chunibyo, but now it hurts just thinking about it. If anyone were to read it now, I'd probably shut myself away from society for the rest of my life. Hee. I could still remember the title of that essay. Whose eyes are those eyes? My chair groaned hoarsely as I leaned back.
僕を見るな。
Don't look at me. I muttered that toward the gloomy ceiling, irritated. Naturally, there was no response. This was my room. I lived here alone. Aside from me, of course, there wasn't a single person here. I tried turning around. My room was dim and cluttered, with various belongings stacked all the way to the ceiling. The only source of light in the room was the desk lamp near my PC. There weren't any windows, so the darkness should come as no surprise. And since you couldn't see outside, you couldn't even tell whether it was night or day. I started speaking into the dark corners of my room.
僕の名前は西條匠。17歳。水明学園2年。と言っても学校にはほとんど行ってないけど。
My name is Nishijo Takumi. I'm 17, and I'm in my second year at Suimei Academy. Not like I really go to school much, though.
まあそれでも勉強はできる方だよ。
Well, that's just because I study from home.
定期テストはちゃんと受けてる。しかもそれなりに上位の点数を取ってるからね。
As long as I come in to take the tests, I can ace them all just fine.
頭はいいんだ。
I'm pretty smart, you know. It wasn't like talking to myself would accomplish anything. It wasn't like anyone was gonna show up out of nowhere. The darkness just kept on sitting there and being darkness. Still, darkness was delusion fuel. After all, the unseen might be the unknown. In the darkness, even if you knew it was impossible, you couldn't help but wonder if something might be there, lurking in the shadows. Damn it, this wasn't helping. I was only making my own creepy delusions worse. Why did I do this to myself? To get off the topic, I decided to keep monologuing.
僕は現在アウェイじゃなかった。渋谷で一人暮らしをしてる。
Right now, I'm deep in enemy territory. I'm living in Shibuya.
この紅会館ビルは父さんの経営するビル会社の管理下にあるんだけど。
This is the Kurenai Conference Hall. It's owned by my dad's property management company.
その屋上に設置されたコンテナハウスを格安で借りてるんだ。
But I'm just renting out a cheap shipping container on the roof.
街の環境は最悪。僕が住んでる新船町は小さな坂が多いから疲れるし、すぐ近くにラブホ街もあるし。
The area around here really does suck, though. I'm in Shinsen, which means a lot of small hills. It's exhausting. And if that weren't bad enough, the Love Hotel district is right around the corner.
ここが秋葉なら最高だったのに。
If only I lived in Akiba instead. Now that'd be epic.
ほんと渋谷ってひどい街だ。円数で言うと、ディーンズバレーくらいひどい。
Seriously, though, Shibuya is such a horrible city. It's as shitty as Dennis Valley in ESO. ESO was the name of an MMORPG that was basically my life. Its full title was Empire Sweeper Online. I'd dive into Basilard, that's the world of ESO, pretty much every day at this point, sacrificing sleep in the process, of course. Dennis Valley was a region in ESO that was full of annoying mobs. They hit super hard, and yet they couldn't even be bothered to drop any decent loot. Only idiots went there to grind. Every vet worth his shit would go to the Forest of Liade instead. It was a much better place to grind, and it was right nearby. Of course that was where I went.
というわけでドキュンと恋愛資本主義者が集まるこんな街は即刻滅ぶべきだね。
Like I was saying, the city is full of DQNs and egotistical douchebags looking for an easy lay. I wish it'd just get demolished already.
でもこの部屋の住み心地はまあまあ我慢できるレベル。
So long as I'm in the comfort of my own room, though, I don't need to put up with any of that.
PC とネット環境は最高水準クラスが揃ってるからね。
I have a top-of-the-line PC and super fast internet, and that's all I need.
まあ学生にしては上等の基地じゃないかな。あ、だから僕はこの部屋のことをベースって呼んでる。
It's all any student could ever need, really. Oh, right, that's why I call this room my base. As always, there wasn't a single living creature in here except me. Realizing how ridiculous I sounded talking to myself like this, I decided to stop introducing myself to whoever was watching me.
それにしても汚い部屋だな。
Still though, this room is a total mess. The whole room reeked of rot. I could feel the stagnating air crawling on my skin. Empty soda bottles and boxed lunches from the convenience store were scattered all over the floor. Also, my bed was covered in piles and piles of eroge. Thanks to that, I always slept on the couch instead.
片付けろよな。誰だよ散らかしっぱなしにしたのは。って僕か。
Seriously though, this place is a pigsty. Who the hell makes a mess like that? Oh, me. Fed up with my own creepy laugh, I took out my frustration on a plastic bottle lying by my foot. The bottle ricocheted off the wall and flew straight toward my shelf of perfectly organized figures. With a shriek, I leapt out of my chair to catch it. I never let anyone lay a finger on any of my 100-ish waifus, daughters, and older sisters. These girls were my darlings. Just looking at them soothed my aching heart. I made sure to tidy up their shelf once a week. It was the only place in the room I ever cleaned. I was always looking for the best ways to display their cuteness. I would constantly rotate and reposition them, trying to create the ultimate layout. Naturally, if I let them get dusty, then the whole thing would be ruined, so I always made sure to clean them regularly. Breathing a sigh of relief, I tossed the bottle aside and turned back to my PC. I kept my beloved PC enshrined at the back end of my room. Next to my monitor was Seraton, 1/8 scale pre-awakening version, a figure from my current favorite anime, Bloodtoon, the animation. She sat there, striking a moe pose and smiling at me.
セーラー、かわいいよ、セーラー。
Sera, you're so cute, Sera. Staring longingly into Seraton's eyes, I grabbed a nearby bottle of cola and took a sip. It was lukewarm, but I didn't care.
さてと、円すらないと。
Alright, let's get back to ESO. I sat back down and plopped my hands onto the keyboard, just assuming that position made me feel relaxed. My character in ESO, Neidhart, was a paladin. I'd already leveled him up to the max and reset twice. Right now, he was back to the max level, 50. That was the highest rank you could reach on official servers. ESO players far and wide knew me as lightning fast Neidhart. They treated me like a god. I already had all the rare weapons, armor, and magic. I still only had 95% of the total rare items, but whatever. It was still a work in progress. I had so much gold that I didn't even know what to do with it. Well, aside from real money trading, which I made a living off of, even if I stopped grinding right now, I'd still have enough to keep living like this for half a year. Aside from just ESO stuff, I was particularly adept at chatting online. It was the only source of social interaction I ever got, after all. I gave advice on the huge anonymous forum @channel. I posted in epic threads too, of course. Oh yeah, and I had over 100 friends on Frepara, a social network I used. Respect. Trust. I had it all right here. I didn't go to school. It wasn't so much that I didn't want to, and more that I had no reason to. I could study anything online. School's completely useless when you can get everything done from home. Well, I did need to attend every once in a while, or else I wouldn't earn enough credits to graduate. That was why I went to school as little as I possibly could. That was the smartest way for a student to live. My parents always nagged me about it, though. To make things easier, I'd invented the minimum attendance chart. According to the chart, I only needed to attend 2 to 3 times a week. The other students would always make fun of me for being an otaku freak, but as far as I was concerned, they were the stupid ones for going to school every day. Maybe try thinking for yourself for once, dipshits. All in all, my life here really isn't all that bad. Oh, whoops. I've been so busy thinking about the gays, I forgot I was in the middle of chatting with Grim. Grim. Yo, Neidhart? You okay? You're not replying. You away from keyboard or something? Grim was the handle of one of my ESO friends. I talked to him all the time online, though I'd never met him IRL. He had a keen eye for useful information, so I could generally rely on him to keep me in the loop. I sat back down and started tapping out a response. Neidhart. My bad. And nah, I didn't fall asleep. I just zoned out for a sec. Grim, guess you must be really tired. Do you not get enough sleep? Or do you just stay up late doing the dirty with your girlfriend? Up all night, every night. Neidhart, come on, you know I'm not into 3D. The two of us chatted about all sorts of things, and since it was all anonymous, I was comfortable with talking about pretty much anything. I'd never act like this IRL, obviously. Grim, oh right, you like 2D, and by 2D you mean, heh eroge? Neidhart, what is up with you and the lewd shit? Grim, me? You're the guy that has porny delusions all the time. You literally were just going on and on about girls in swimsuits, remember? Neidhart, I was? I definitely don't remember that. Anyway. If that's what we're talking about, then here's my take on it. Cool swimsuit and glasses equals perfection. It's not a real school swimsuit unless there's a name tag on the chest. A white school swimsuit? GTFO. Navy blue or nothing. Nightheart. The swimsuit glasses combo should be the default. Also, pro tip, there has to be a name tag on the suit. And the swimsuit must be navy blue. Everything else can fuck off. Grim, slow down, man. You like girls with glasses? That's your type? Nightheart. Nah, they just pair well with swimsuits. Usually you take your glasses off for swimming, right? But she doesn't. And that leaves all sorts of room for my delusions to work. Grim, well, your libido is deaf at full throttle today, but that's what makes you you, Nightheart. I should be disgusted, and yet... Nightheart, wait, go back. What do you mean that's what makes you you? I mean, yeah, I guess I went a bit crazy there. But I'm still trying to maintain a cool image for myself here. Grim, you? Cool? Ha 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 ha. Nightheart, what are you laughing at? Anyway, what were we talking about before I went AFK? It was probably just something to do with ESO. Grim, did you seriously forget? There was an incident IRL recently. An incident IRL? I remembered something like that, but what was it? Shogun has joined the room. Current users 3. Grim, greetings, Lord Shogun. Nightheart, sup? I introduced myself, but there was no reply from the user named Shogun. What was up with that? Was he ignoring me? And I was being so friendly to him, too. Did he know who he was talking to? I'll have you know I'm the lightning-fast Nightheart. Lurking wasn't even allowed here. Well, whatever. Might as well just ignore him. I guess that was another great thing about the internet. There was no need to worry about pointless etiquette. Nightheart. Anyway, what were you saying, Grim? Grim, I was talking about those cases that have been all over the news lately. Nightheart, like I know what's happening IRL. Probably something stupid, right? Grim, pretty much, yeah. It's pretty shocking, though. Shocking? Must have been some real grisly murder, then. There'd been a few here and there recently. Nightheart, you're not gonna send me gore again, are you? Grim, what, can't handle a little gore, Nightheart? Nightheart, I mean, there's nothing I can't handle. Still, I didn't really want to see it. Lately, it hadn't been easy to avoid that kind of stuff. People were always trying to trick others into clicking on nasty stuff, like gore or some kind of creepy edit, and once you fell for it, you couldn't unsee it.
まあ、少しは目が慣れてきちゃってるのかも。
Well, I think I'm used to it by now, sorta. Grim, and they call you the greatest paladin in all of Basilard. Nightheart, I don't PK though. PK stands for player kill. In other words, it's when you go around in MMOs killing randos and stealing their gold and gear. So, typical DQN stuff. Nightheart, I'm no troll, and I don't stoop to their level either. And just in general, I try to avoid breaking ESO's rules. It goes against my policy. Well, except for the rules that prohibited real money trading, I broke those all the time. Grim, wow, calm your tits, there, oh mighty hero. So I'm sure you've heard of New Gen, right? New Gen? What was that? Had he ever mentioned it before? Grim was talking like I should have already known about it. Nightheart, the hell is New Gen? Grim, the New Generation Madness. People call it New Gen online. It's the name for the mysterious set of incidents happening in Shibuya. It's all up in your neighborhood. Oh, now that he'd mentioned it, I did feel like I'd heard about it somewhere. Though, all I knew was that they existed. I hadn't looked into them at all. I tried Googling New Gen and instantly got a few results.
と、
Let's see here.
この1ヶ月の間に渋谷で発生した2つの事件のことをニュージェネと呼ぶ。
Looks like New Gen is the name for 2 incidents in Shibuya that happened in the past month.
その犠牲者は胎児を含めて7人。
There have been 7 victims.
1つ目の事件は友人同士5人による高層ビルからの集団ダイブ。
The first incident was the group dive, where 5 friends jumped off a skyscraper.
2つ目の事件では男性の体内から胎児が出てきた。
And in the second one, a baby was found inside a man's body.
これマジかよ。
Whoa, are you serious? A chill ran down my spine. Before I'd even realized it, I turned around and was looking around my room again. There were a bunch of results for New Gen on Taboo News, so I went to skim through them. New Generation Madness, the incidents that had the entire internet in an uproar. There'd been 2 of them so far. One of them was so brutal, several TV channels didn't even describe the crime out loud. The first incident, the group dive, had been initially thought to be a suicide, but rumors had since risen that it may not have been. Parents and friends of the 5 victims all said the same thing. None of the victims had shown any sign of planning to commit suicide, and they hadn't had any reason to do so either. And on top of that, some physical evidence had been found too. Neidhart had a quick look. Grim, well, like something out of a creepypasta, huh? Shit yourself yet? Neidhart, not really. I don't care to be honest. Grim, here, a link. Take a look at this.
グリムのやつ、僕をバカにして楽しんでるな。
He's getting a kick out of this. Neidhart, what is it? Grim, a picture of one of the victims' corpses. He did stuff like this from time to time. But if I wanted to keep up my reputation as the great Neidhart of Basilard, I couldn't let it faze me. Unlike in the real world, I was a god in the world of ESO. I was the strongest, wisest, and most noble knight in all of the land. Mocking me would be a fool's errand. And so, gathering up whatever courage I had, I clicked the link. Oh, it was just some shitty doodle. Neidhart. LMAO, I got baited. Who did this, haha? Grim, I drew it in like 2 minutes. Neidhart, damn, the god of art finally shows himself to us mortals. Grim, anyway, not gonna lie, I'm dead tired, so I think I'm gonna pass out. Neidhart, good night. Grim, see you tomorrow in Basilard. Grim has left the room. Current users, 2. Come to think of it, that Shogun guy had been here the whole time. I'd completely forgotten about him. Not that I cared, though. Well, I don't really feel like sleeping yet, so I guess I'll farm an ESO for a bit. Wait, no, the new episode of Bloodtoon comes out today. I didn't have a TV in my room, so I just made do with my PC.
あと15分ぐらいか。その前にトイレでも行っておこうかな。
15 minutes to go. Might as well go to the bathroom while I wait. I took a quick look at Sera next to my monitor. I would get to see Seraton today. I couldn't wait. With that on my mind, I made my way over to close the chat window.
あれ？
Huh? Shogun had sent a message.
なんだよこいつ急に。
What the? He actually posted. So he wasn't just a lurker. Judging by the file extension, it looked like an image link. A sudden link? Post by a suspicious stranger that hadn't sent a single message until now? I gulped instinctively. I couldn't explain why, but I had a bad feeling about it. A feeling unlike anything I had ever felt in all my time on the internet. I really didn't want to click it. I clicked my tongue and glanced at the clock. My rendezvous with Seraton was in 12 minutes. I should probably get this conversation over with quickly. Neidhart. What kind of bait and switch is this? Shogun. Die Welt ändert sich, wenn du darauf klickst. Neidhart. Whoa, what's with the German? I was trying my best to act calm and casual. To be honest, I didn't really want to chat with a shady guy like this. I was so uncomfortable that I could feel a cold sweat forming. He was saying something like, the world changes if you click it? Seriously, what was his deal? And if the guy only spoke German, I definitely wouldn't be able to deal with him. Huh? So he could actually speak normally? I relaxed a little bit. Neidhart. Don't worry, you're fine. Any reason for lurking? Did someone give you the you need to lurk for 6 months before posting spiel? Shogun, I was thinking. Neidhart, by the way, where are you chatting from? For some reason, there was a short pause. Shogun, Shibuya. All at once, images of those gruesome new-gen incidents flashed through my head. Even though I hadn't actually seen any photos, I could picture them so vividly that it was almost like I'd been there myself. The man's torn-up stomach, the lifeless fetus shoved inside. The 5 people that dove off the building, instantly turning into a pulpy, inhuman puddle upon hitting the ground. Just thinking about it was almost enough to make me puke. I shook my head violently, as if to shake the gruesome delusions out of my head. The Shogun guy was so suspicious, I couldn't stop the paranoid delusions from forming. What was he trying to drag me into? Neidhart, same here. Looks like a lot of weird incidents have been happening lately, huh? Shogun, more are coming.
なんだこれ。
Neidhart, Shibuya is so scary. Shogun, fun to the 10th times int to the 40th equals IR2. What's that? Was this Shogun guy some kind of Denpa nutjob? I'd never seen that formula before in my life, and when you were as smart as me, that was saying something. I tried looking it up. In this day and age, there was all sorts of information on the internet, so it'd be easy to find.
あれ、ヒットしないな。
Huh? I'm not getting any results. Was he trying to act smart by typing some nonsense formula? Fuck if I knew. Shogun, that formula has killed this world's possibilities. Neidhart, what are you trying to say? And what was that link from earlier? Did I just take the bait already? Shogun, I thought it might interest you. All of a sudden, the chat was flooded with links. Just who was this guy? Was he just trying to scare me for shits and giggles? Maybe he was a friend of Grimm's and they'd teamed up to mess with me. Feeling the gaze again, I took a look around the room. But surprise, surprise, all that was behind me was darkness and clutter, as per usual. I was hit with an unnatural sense of dread. Feeling of perpetually being watched left me feeling restless.
僕を見るな。
Don't look at me. And upon saying that, I realized that my voice was trembling. It was almost like the cluttered room I knew so well had transformed into someplace completely foreign. If you've ever had to go to the bathroom at night after watching a horror movie or listening to a ghost story or something, you may know the feeling of being unnerved or even terrified by the dark hallways of your own home. That was close to how I felt right now.
くそ、釣られたりするもんか。
Damn it, you think this shitty bait's gonna phase me? In spite of my shuddering, I faced the monitor, leaned in, and... before I knew it, with the slightest twitch of my index finger, I'd clicked one of the links.
Ch-
No, wait. I really had no clue how it had happened. It wasn't like my hand had been possessed by some unnatural force or something. I'd just sort of done it without thinking. But even though I knew full well it'd be a mistake, I'd clicked it as if it were the most natural thing in the world.
なんだよこれ。
What is this? The image that filled my monitor looked like some kind of modern art piece. An arrangement of spikes, like the quills of a hedgehog or pins in a pincushion, protruded from the wall in the shape of a cross, below it a puddle of dark red. And in front of it were small pieces of something, scattered across the ground like garbage. Seriously, what even is this? The work of some pretentious avant-garde artist? Those sorts of idiots were all over the place. They'd make gory stuff like this, then spout some bullshit like, it depicts the latent chaos oft laid bare in this cruel world. No way in hell I'd ever consider that shit art. Still, what a weird image. It hadn't explicitly been gore, but it was definitely borderline. So then why? Why had it seemed so graphic? Why had it seemed so realistic? Why was I imagining the stench of blood? And why was that stench so strong that it nearly made me choke? It was all in my head, so why did I feel sick to my stomach? I felt a sharp throbbing pain in my forehead. The nausea wouldn't go away. I desperately reached for my mouse, but my trembling hand knocked it off the desk, leaving it dangling above the floor by its cord. I reeled it back up to the mousepad, and then, finally, closed the image. But, just as I thought it was finally over, my eyes were struck by... Shogun. Whose eyes are those eyes? I glanced at the minimum attendance chart. In the end, I hadn't managed to catch the new Blood Tune episode live. No big deal, though. Someone had upped it to YouTube after the fact, so I'd been able to just watch it there. I still didn't feel any better, though. Those last words Shogun had left behind. It was almost as if he knew about God's gaze and how much it terrified me. It was way too specific for it to just be a coincidence. Maybe someone had leaked some info about me online. Maybe it was another ESO player with a grudge against Neidhart or something. Prodigies like me got a lot of love, so naturally they also got a lot of hate. Well, most haters out there were just jealous. You wouldn't see them around much, but every once in a while some child would try to start shit because he was jealous of Neidhart's strength and popularity. They weren't worth anyone's time. But we've gone off topic now. Anyway, yeah, that Shogun guy really got to me. Earlier, I tried logging onto ESO to grind for a little while, but I just couldn't concentrate. And to make matters worse, of all days for this to happen,
最悪の日だ。
just had to be a shitty day like this. Top of everything that had happened, I also had to go to school today. I seriously didn't want to go, but if I didn't follow the minimum attendance sheet to a T, my calculations would get completely thrown off. Worst case scenario, I'd even have to repeat the year.
眠いのに。
But I'm so tired. I stifled a yawn and started trudging off towards school, a trip that was about 10 minutes away from base on foot. As soon as I started walking, my mood sank even lower. My body grew heavy, and I found it strangely hard to breathe, causing me to break into an uncomfortable sweat. This was what always happened on school days. Going to school was pure suffering. Why did I have to go through this? Grumbling to myself with my eyes fixed on the pavement, I kept on walking. I turned to enter Shoto Park. The school was just past it. Over by the lake, an elderly couple was taking their morning stroll. Nearby, a businessman sat on a bench, reading the sports section of the newspaper. For a park on the outskirts of a bustling city like Shibuya, it was surprisingly calm. Definitely a great place to relax. I took a seat on another bench nearby before heading into school for the morning. I always came here to eat breakfast. I gazed out toward the peaceful pond, the water surrounded by trees with off-color leaves, their hues slowly changing as autumn rolled in. As per usual, today's menu was just a cream bun that I'd picked up from the convenience store on the way here. It'd be enough to tide me over until later tonight. I always skipped lunch. Nobody wanted to eat lunch with an otaku freak like me, and there was no way in hell I'd eat alone when surrounded by people eating and chatting together. After washing down my breakfast with some cola, I began staring up at the sky absent-mindedly. No matter the season, the sky above Shibuya was always pretty bleak. My parents only lived a few train stations away, but there was still a clear difference between here and there. Don't get me wrong, I didn't especially mind the bleak sky, but I also couldn't really explain why. I glanced at my watch to check the time. I needed to get going or I'd be late. I had to avoid that outcome at all costs. I only came to school 2 or 3 times a week, so I had to keep a low profile. To make it through school, I had to blend in, to become invisible like the air. The ideal school day was one where nothing happened, one where I didn't have to deal with any of my teachers or DQN classmates. That was the ultimate goal I shot for, and it would continue to be until the day I'd finally graduate. This was Suimei Private Academy, the school I went to. Apparently, it had only been built around 10 years ago, so it didn't exactly have a rich history or anything like that. Since it still looked brand new, it made a pretty good setting for high school TV shows. On top of that, the school uniforms had apparently been designed by some famous designer. A ton of shallow-ass girls enrolled just so that they could wear it. And while they called it a prep school, most students here didn't score much higher than the national average. Even more ironic, though, was that the school slogan was, "Here you'll be free," and yet the school rules were actually really strict. And again, they never actually bothered enforcing those rules. So I guess the slogan wasn't really wrong in the end. I mean, I barely ever showed up, and I passed my classes just fine. If you could get away with that, you could probably get away with anything. As I closed in on the school, I could hear the other students more and more clearly. I wasn't good at dealing with crowds, so I just kept my head low as I slipped through the gate. Nobody talked to me, nobody talked to me. I repeated those words in my head like a mantra. My younger sister also attended this school, though she still lived with my parents. Run into her, and any perfectly fine day could turn into a nightmare. Luckily, I hadn't run into her this time. I made it to class safe and sound. I rushed over to my seat, being extra careful not to make eye contact with anyone. I could feel a nearby group of girls shoot a glance at me, but thankfully they went right back to chatting afterward. They all thought I was a freak. I was sure of it. Well, from my point of view, you 3D sluts are the real freaks here. If you think I'm a freak, then don't look at me. Just pretend like I'm not here. Don't acknowledge me at all. If you all just do that, then I won't bother you either, and I can go about my day in peace. That's why it always confuses me when I see DQNs calling people freaks. I just don't get it. If you think they're such a freak, then why even bother talking to them? Just stay in your corner and they'll stay in theirs. Regardless, I was just sitting there, looking down at my desk when...
Yo, Taku.
Yo, Taku. Someone suddenly clapped me on the back. Startled, I turned to look behind me.
お前、今日って学校来る日だっけ？
Didn't know you were coming in today.
みすみくん。
Oh, Misumi-kun. It was Misumi Daisuke, one of my classmates. He shot me a friendly smile from beside my desk. The guy was pretty handsome, so all the girls were into him, but he was also into them and dated them. A lot of them. Usually multiple at a time. If you ask me, he was balls deep into DQN territory. If it were up to me, I'd steer clear of him, but
相変わらず暗い顔してんな。ゲームのやりすぎで寝不足か？
you're looking grim as ever. You stay up all night playing games again.
別に。
Not really. He was the only person in the class who was comfortable talking to me. Though we had absolutely nothing in common, so I had no idea why he bothered. I've been suspicious about it ever since the school year began. If I were a girl, I could maybe understand, but since I was a guy, it made no sense to me.
引きこもりだからしゃあねえかもしんねえけどよ。もっとこう、ハキハキ答えろって。
No, it's hard for you since you're a shut-in and all, but you should really try to speak up. I would if I could. Just the act of talking to another 3D human being was painful. Anxiety made it hard for me to speak naturally. My lack of experience made it hard for me to articulate things. And I was always afraid of being teased for saying something weird. That was why I always shrunk back. You have no idea how much pain I'm going through, so please don't talk like you know me. Also, I'm not a goddamn shut-in. Real shut-ins stay in their rooms 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I'm not like that.
女相手に緊張するならともかく、そういう態度されると、俺らホモと思われるじゃねえか。
I mean, I can understand feeling nervous around chicks, but if you keep stuttering like that around me, people might start thinking we're gay. Wait, was he just dating girls as a cover? Had he been into guys all along? I tried to back away from him, nearly falling out of my chair in the process, but I quickly grabbed onto my desk to catch myself.
何してんだお前。
The hell you doing, dude?
みすみくんはホモなの？
Misumi-kun? Are you gay?
え？なわけねえだろ。お前、俺の女好きを忘れたのか？
What? No way in hell. Did you forget all the chicks I've landed?
だよね。ビビった。
Right. Whew, that was terrifying.
ちなみに、
Speaking of landing chicks. Misumi-kun took a quick look around, then lowered his voice and grinned from ear to ear.
昨日このクラスの女子で3人目を落とした。誰だか聞きたいか？
I just bagged my third girl from this class. Wanna know who?
いいよ、別に。
Not really, no.
だよ、もっと興味示せよ。田中だぜ、田中。
Come on, you can at least pretend to care. It was Tanaka, man. Tanaka.
田中って誰？
Who's Tanaka?
お前、もうすぐ10月だってのに、未だに同じクラスのやつの顔を覚えてねえのか？
You seriously not know the names of our classmates by now? It's nearly October, dude.
ま、3次元に興味ないんじゃ、それも当然か。
Well, you say you're not into 3D girls, so I guess it makes sense. Visibly frustrated, he shrugged his shoulders and let out a sigh. Well, interestingly enough, he never insulted my taste in girls, which was, to put it simply, that they had to be from the second dimension. But he never called me a freak for that, he just didn't bother with things that didn't interest him. That was what made me think he may not have been all that bad. That was also probably the reason why I didn't mind talking to him.
これでうちのクラスの可愛い女はほぼ攻略完了だ。
Anyway, I've pretty much scored on every cute girl in this class by now.
そろそろ隣のクラス守備範囲広げようかって思ってんだよ。
I think it's about time I start heading next door. Okay, maybe he was pretty bad. If a girl overheard some of the shit he said, she'd be horrified.
D 組によ、めったに学校来ねえけど、すごくいい女がいるらしいんだよ。
There's a real hot one in Class D, but it doesn't look like she comes to school much.
なんか、そういうの、燃えねえか。
Ain't got much in the chest, though.
あ、お前の場合は燃えるんじゃなくて、燃えだっけか？
Now that I think about it, though, aren't you into flat girls anyway? Are you talking about 2D? That's not... whatever.
ま、お前の興味ねえ話はそろそろやめるか。
Alright, new topic.
じゃあよ、ニュージェネの話知ってるだろ。
Have you heard about New Gen? I hadn't expected to hear those words come out of his mouth. And here I thought he was only capable of thinking about girls. I couldn't even picture him watching the news or reading the newspaper.
集団ダイブの事件さ。あれも噂によると殺人らしいぜ。
There's been some rumors that the group dive wasn't actually a suicide.
へえ。
What?
マジだって書いてあったんだよ、スポ島に。
Yeah, that's what Sports Tokyo said. What, so his source was Sports Tokyo? That kind of erased any and all credibility. Still, I'd already known about that rumor, not that I cared.
で、聞いて驚け。その殺人鬼が女で、しかもかなり美人だって目撃証言があんだよ。
Okay, now listen closely. This is the good part. An eyewitness said that the killer's a chick, and a real hottie at that too.
女。
A chick? Watching Misumi couldn't get so excited, it finally hit me. Why did he suddenly care enough to read Sports Tokyo? Same reason he cared about anything else. Something to do with girls. What a twist. I guess Misumi-kun would even go after serial killers as long as they were cute. I mean, if it were me, I'd take a cute 2D serial killer, but... Misumi-kun stared longingly at the blue sky outside the window. Then, for some reason, his face suddenly lit up as if he'd reached enlightenment itself.
どんなやつなんだろうな、犯人って。本当に美人なのかな。会ってみて。
Really though, I wonder what kind of person the murderer is. Is she really a cutie? If she is, then I really want to meet her. Yeah, this dude definitely thought exclusively with the wrong head.
俺だけは殺されねえ自信があんだよな。だってほら、俺ってかっこいいだろ。いくら連続殺人鬼でも、俺みたいないい男に会ったら、コロッと惚れちゃうぜ。
I know she wouldn't kill me. I mean, look at me. I've got the looks, and chicks dig me. No matter how many people she's killed, she'd definitely fall in love with a nice guy like me. And that's why she wouldn't kill you? This guy was so delusional he gave me a run for my money. The fact that he was able to say all that without even a hint of irony was honestly pretty gross.
僕は興味ないから。
I don't really care.
でもよ、興味ないっつったって、犯人は絶対この辺うろうろしてんだぞ。どっかですれ違ってたりするかもしんねえし。
The hell do you mean you don't really care? You know the killer is somewhere in the city, right? It might even be someone you've met before. Yeah, well, for all I know, you could be the murderer. Okay, probably not, but it was entirely possible that the killer could be one of the students at this very school. If that turned out to be true, maybe I'd use my PTSD as an excuse to come in less often without hurting my attendance.
なあ、今日俺と一緒に殺人現場見に行かね。ここから歩いて行けんだってよ。まだ血とか残ってるらしいぞ。
So, want to come check out the crime scene with me? It's close enough to walk to from here. I hear they haven't even finished cleaning up the blood yet. I had absolutely zero interest in doing that. I just wanted to get through school in peace, go home, greet Seraton, and get back to being worshipped like a god in Basilard.
もう小橋と長谷川は見に行ったって言ってたしよ。
Come on, even Kobashi and Hasegawa have gone to see it.
本当に興味ないんだ。
I really don't want to. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and save the first illusion for next time. But until then, class dismissed.